Well, hello everybody and welcome back to Oscar's Bachelor Kitchen. Today we're going to be making some another Mexican recipe, and it's Spanish rice. It's not really hard to make. Once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. The beauty of making Spanish rice is you can always tweak it the way you want. You can add a little bit more spices, or a little bit more salt, a little bit more this, a little bit more that, and once you figure it out, then you'll have the perfect recipe. Now, right now I'm just going to show you what the ingredients are going to be that we're going to be using today. First of all, obviously we're going to need the rice, and right now we're going to be working with about 2 cups of rice. We're going to have half a teaspoon of cumin, and 2 cloves of garlic, and we have about 1 onion here, 1 cup onion, not the whole onion. Half a cup of your favorite salsa, if you like that. You can skip the salsa, but I'm using salsa today. We're also using a half a teaspoon of red pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt, and today we're using some chicken broth. Buy yourself some chicken broth, and some your favorite cooking oil. And I'm using vegetable oil today, but you can use anything you want that's going to be your favorite cooking oil. So that's about it. Let's go over to the stove, and I'm going to show you how to put all these things together. So okay, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to get this the heat going on this pan, and we're going to add about, I'm going to say, about a tablespoon or a little bit more of your oil. And what you're going to do is we're going to saute these onions. So you throw your onions right in there. Now, right now I'm starting the pan off on high just to get these things going. Now, these onions aren't really finely chopped. They're like a medium chop, because they'll reduce down as you're going along. So, and like I said in the beginning, I mean, you can always add more onions if you really like onions. So that's something you got to think about, and it's a matter of taste. Now you have your garlic handy. As you can see, I have the garlic sitting here. These 2 things initially, this is what you're going to start with. Start with cooking your onions. And when your onions are almost all the way cooked, a little on the starting to brown, you can add in your in the garlic at that point. Now, you don't want to add your garlic in with the onions because you don't want to overcook your garlic. The garlic might burn, and if you burn garlic, it gives you a very bad taste if you're familiar with garlic. So you don't really want to subject the garlic to high heat for any length of time. So that's something to keep in mind, not only for this menu, but for any menu that you're using garlic with. Okay, so now my onions are starting to brown now, and I'm putting 2 cloves of garlic right in there, and we're not going to let this cook more than a few seconds here. And once you smell that garlic coming back at you, let's get this off the heat. And what we're going to do is put that in a little plate or a bowl or something. Throw it on the side there. And then what you want to do, put your onions aside a little bit. Put a couple of more, I would say, about 2 tablespoons of oil in there. Now at this point what we're going to do is we're going to add our 2 cups of rice right in there. And what we're going to do is just get that oil, get it all oiled up. Now what we're looking for when we do this is we want to brown our rice. So move it around, get it all oily, and now while your rice is browning, what we want to do is get our chicken broth ready, because that's going to be coming in here as soon as we get this rice kind of brown. So you want it to kind of keep it even, so keep the rice moving so you keep it all kind of cooking evenly. And you'll see after a few minutes it'll start to brown on you. And you don't want to darken, you don't want to burn it, but you want it a little like golden brown, maybe a little on the tan side. And that's, so when you see it's getting kind of golden brown, you know, on you. Now at this point you want to add your broth, and be careful because your pan is hot. And you want to add about 2 cups of broth. Now at this point, put in your onions. All your onions in there. Now at this point, you also want to add all your other ingredients. Here goes the red pepper. Let's go ahead and throw that in there. Your salt. And put in your cumin. And your salsa. Now you'll see I'm adding a little water. A couple of cups of water at this point. Now leave your heat on high. Well, we'll let that cook. And the reason you want to leave that on high is because you want to fuse all your ingredients together into your rice. So high heat is good. You just have to make sure you have enough liquid in there so it doesn't burn. Okay? You're going to have in there. We have to leave this cook for about 30 minutes. Okay? So at this point now you've had this on high for a few minutes, and we're bringing all these ingredients together, fusing all the flavors. And after a few minutes, go ahead and turn your heat down to about medium, and you'll see everything start to calm down. Everything's going to calm down, and we're just going to let this reduce. Now don't be a walk-away chef from your food, because you want to make sure that the liquid is up, and you'll keep your liquid up until about the last 10 minutes. Then you want it to reduce the liquid down, because you don't want real soupy rice. But as you're going along, you might have to add more broth and more water, or either or. Both is good. If you want to use the thing is with chicken broth, It depends on what you get, is salted or unsalted. If you're using unsalted chicken broth, you might have to add a little more salt. If you're using salted chicken broth, you might have to ease up on any salt you put in there, okay? Unless you really like it salty. So know what you're adding in there, and add a little chicken broth, and that'll calm everything down. Keep it wet, keep it wet. Now, when you're working this rice, you never want to stir. Just push. Push with your spatula. Or, if you want, get underneath and you can turn it, but never stir. You don't want a rapid stir on these things. Now, there's really no reason to really keep stirring this as long as there's liquid in there. You can see that it's moving around. You're pretty fine. Now, just to show you that it's not going to be a sin to keep your rice wet, just add a little bit of water or broth. You see, this is not rocket science here. So we're adding a little broth or a little water. So don't be afraid to do your thing with this, okay? Keep everything then just let it cook, and just move it around a little bit now and then. Like I say, don't overwork it. Don't overwork it, because overworking rice, you're going to make it mushy, and you don't want mushy rice. After about 10 or 15 minutes, you'll see it's starting to reduce down there. You might want to grab yourself a little spoon and just grab yourself a little bit. Be sure it's cool when you taste it. You don't want to put a bunch of hot rice in your mouth. Yeah, and it's still a little, tastes good, but it's a little crunchy. So I think we got at least about 15-20 minutes more to go. I can see we're starting to reduce too much here. So what I want to do at this point is add another cup of water. And you'll notice that you're going to have to probably keep doing this all the way through your cooking. And like I say, once in a while you can. Now don't stir it, just flop it. Just flop it. Just turn it, take it, and just flop it. Don't do anything else with it, just flop it. That's there you go, see? Scrape everything off your sides. Don't be, don't be afraid to once in a while check your progress on this. Again, be careful, it's hot. 10 more minutes on this. So now you'll notice after about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, you have to take more care, because you're starting to finish up on this thing, and you want to finish up rice kind of on the dry side. You don't want it all kind of soggy. As you're kind of getting toward the end, like I said, I think this is about another 5 minutes and I'll be done here. It's usually about 30 minutes, 35 minutes, anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes. You know, I know it sounds kind of weird, but there's a lot of variables here. The heat of the stove, the heat of the pan, you know, how much broth you're adding, that'll reduce the heat. So every time you add broth, it cools the pan down a little bit. So it's going to vary. That's why I say don't walk away from what you're doing, especially the last 10 minutes or so. Now you'll notice that usually toward the end of your cooking, you might want to flop it a couple of more times, you know, almost in succession as the water reduces. You want to reduce that water. And again, grab yourself another taste. I think we're just about there. Now let your liquid reduce. Don't add any more liquid at this point. This is what you're looking for as an end result. Everything you're doing here, all the liquid that you're doing is culminating now to this final reduction of liquid, leaving your rice kind of like dry, yet you might want to flip it over a couple of times, get the liquid from the bottom to the top, because the top is going to dry out quicker. Hand shuffle it, work it till the end. Basically, we're pretty much done. You can give yourself one last taste for your own satisfaction. Maybe one or two more flips. Drying it out so it's not too wet. And there you go, my friends. I think we're done. There you go. Spanish rice. Got enough for a bunch of people. Freeze it. Do anything you want with it. We'll do a little close-up of that rice there, and let's see what we can do. There you go. Almost all individual kernels there. No mush, no fuss. And that's it. Well, there you go. Step-by-step procedure for Spanish rice, and hope it helped you guys out, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And you know, like I said, just keep up the try, and eventually you'll be making it like you knew how to do it all along. So thanks for watching OG's Kitchen, and we'll see you next time.